Quinn and Cantera.
PYX106 and the former Aflac voice, Gilbert Gottfried there, and his, an excerpt, I should say, from the book that Quinn owns, 50 Shades of Grey.
Take it easy. It was given to me because I do a radio show, and it's just for instances like this.
You've been lugging it in and out of the studio for 2 weeks now.
The crap that I lug in my bag, there's stuff in there I haven't seen for 3-4 months. So, but, it's for instances like this. I'm holding 50 Shades of Grey. Here's page 233. I am dressed and ready when Ray arrives. I open the front door, and he's standing on the porch in his ill-fitting suit. A warm surge of gratitude and love for his uncomplicated man streaks through me.
Let's welcome on to the show from Martin Harding in Mazzotti and his attorney, Paul Harding. Good morning, Paul.
That's good morning. That's introduction right there. Yeah. Good morning.
Have you read the book, or do anyone you know?
You can't ask
Is anyone
him
you
that.
know
He's
reading the book?
He's an attorney, for crying out loud.
Everyone I know is talking about the book or has read the book. Not to profile, but it tends to be on the female sector, and tends to be in the women in their 30s and 40s.
Exactly.
I heard you get a free copy with every minivan purchase.
No,
is that true?
No, but that's a good play, actually.
But we're talking about 50 Shades of Grey, Paul, because in Wisconsin, Georgia, and Florida, almost predictable here, they're actually banning this, not ordering it for libraries, and if they have already have copies, they're taking it off the shelf. So freedom of speech is on the line here.
It is. And these librarians, as it turns out, have a tremendous amount of latitude and tremendous amount of power in what they choose to keep in their public library. What happens? They decide the book isn't fit for their community. They pull the book, and then the recourse, of course, is the court if somebody wanted to sue them under the First Amendment grounds.
Isn't it like the president dies, then the vice president's in charge, then it's the Secretary of State, then it's a librarian,
Then the
right?
librarian in Wisconsin. Yeah.
But if it goes to court, Paul, it's a public library. So is this always a open and shut case that the public wins, the book stays?
Yeah. It comes down to this standard, and the standard that they had was whether or not it's obscene. Obscene material is not protected speech. So whether this book rose to the level of obscenity, what you just read seems like it's creeping in that direction. It's so popular, and I think if you're the author of this book and these libraries are going to come out and try to denounce the book and take it off the shelf, if you needed more publicity, which they didn't,
this is it.
This is it.
I think this is the best thing to happen to soccer moms. I mean, literally since the minivan. Honestly, this is great. It's a young college student, a literature student who goes to interview a wealthy entrepreneur, older man. She finds out that he's scary and powerful, and it's the old young woman, older man story, and she ends up having all kinds of good sex with him. So that's great.
It's Quinn and Cantera, PYX106. We're talking to Paul Harding from Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Just a couple of minutes left, Paul, and I want to move the conversation because I don't think people understand what free speech is. Free speech means we can criticize the government. It doesn't mean you can get on my Facebook page and call me fat, right?
Well, they always say, and again, I have no comment on this, but the truth kind of sets you free on some of these things. So,
ouch, Cantera. But no, seriously, what is free speech versus libel?
Sure, defamation of character or libel or something like that. And there is a truth factor. I mean, if you're out there and you're saying something you can prove to be true, you're always going to have the ability to do that. But free speech has been, again, in many forms. It's speech. We saw it down in Albany when they were occupying Albany. That was free speech. They were just demonstrating their right to protest.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with this book right now is what's screwing with people's heads is that there's a lot of dominant, submissive stuff, and there's, bondage and that kind of thing. And who knew that was something that a lot of normal, everyday people are a lot more into than we thought.
Well, let me tell you, I was a housewife.
Yes.
For a couple of years.
I
was a stay-at-home dad. I welcomed any kind of escape.
Oh, sure.
Not in the form of 50 Shades of Grey, but in the form of maybe Sports Illustrated or
40
whatever.
Shades of
something to take your mind off another round of macaroni salad. Well, thanks for helping us clear it up. Paul, do you want to borrow the book when we're done with it?
I started reading the Harry Potter things about 5 years ago because it became so dominant and wherever you went. So I am, in fact, going to get the book and I'm going to read at least parts of it because it's just such a dominating literary force.
It's research.
It is one 2, and 3 on the bestseller list. The trilogy occupies top 3 spots.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd love to hear your take on it. It's Paul Harding from Martin Harding and
Part
Mazzotti.
2.
He's a regular here. Glad you made it back on the show this week, Paul. Thanks for coming on.
The submissive
Okay,
will obey any instructions given by the dominant immediately without hesitation or reservation. The submissive